Alright, we're rolling.
Just gonna go off the dome.
So this is Matt. We've been friends for half our lives, and this is our conversation. Enjoy.
Yeah, I guess previously we were just having like a conversation.
Yeah, we just continue our...
catching up.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
And mental health.
Mental health. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Which
actually
is a,
it's a poppin' topic.
Yeah, it is. Dude, I don't know. I have a weird like perception on mental health. Because like, to be honest, like I definitely have some problems. I mean, I know I have problems.
Right.
But like when it comes to like the big ones like depression and anxiety, like I'm really good at managing those. And like it's not even a thing that I've like practiced. It's just like innate. It's something that like I don't really deal with. I mean, maybe in like short stints, but it's never very long.
Right.
So like when people start talking about mental health, you know, I'm all about trying to do something for yourself before you start doing like medication. Because I do think our society now just like
Quick to jump on
it's
that.
so quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need prescribe me some Zoloft.
Yeah.
I think there's things you can do, and we were just talking about meditation.
Oh, right.
I think that's a huge one.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're jumping to the pills before the meditation, it's like...
And it's easy.
Yeah, just make the symptoms go away.
Exactly.
I don't care about the underlying cause. Like,
Yeah.
just put a blanket over it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird for me because, you know, I have people around me that certainly struggle with it, and
Yeah.
I want to help them, and I think sometimes the way I try to help them
Right.
is perceived as like, oh, you don't fucking get it. Which...
And that's true, though.
It is true.
Because
it is true.
It's
yeah.
deeper than... Dude, something I've been hearing about more is just like, some people, you know, will be genetically predisposed to bipolar disorder
Yeah.
or like depression or whatever it is. And I feel like I'm not predisposed to those things. And I feel like I'm coming from a standpoint similar to you, to where I feel like, yeah, taking those lifestyle changes, like meditation, what I'm consuming, as well as like information and what I'm putting my body through, and also what I'm consuming in food.
Man, you know, I was listening to someone, and I think it might have been Dom Agostino. It was definitely this other doctor I can't think of, but she was doing like a research study with another doctor, and they were trying to correlate how sauna treatments and ice baths reduce depression levels and like would sustain them over like a 6-week period of time if you got your core temperature up to a certain point. They're doing a research study on it now, but I just thought it was really interesting because I'm like, ice bath came around with Wim Hof, and then the sauna thing is kind of newer. The actual benefits to it, I don't think have been explored, and so I am curious to see when that research study comes out, what it was.
These pills are essentially they're inhibiting a certain neurotransmitter, or they're allowing more of it to be produced. They're changing the chemistry in your brain. And exposing yourself to cold temperatures is doing the exact same thing. You know?
I mean, do you get it's called heat shock proteins from sauna? That's what you get.
Oh.
You put off heat shock proteins. That's what creates that benefit.
Right.
I think there's a lot to be explored on that. Think about, I don't want to jump into it too hot of a topic, but think about like COVID. I think there's a majority consensus that most people that have passed away have had severe underlying comorbidities, have been older in age, and instead of like telling people, hey, go get the vaccine, let's maybe promote like healthy living. You've had 2 years to like get your ass into a gym and eat. And like I'm guilty of it. I don't always eat clean. I don't always work out. I think there could have been a real big push to like be like, hey,
promoting a healthy lifestyle. Another band-aid solution is just like getting the shot. Like, while it's, you know, there's science backing it and this and that, but it's still like, oh yeah, I can just get this and everything's fine. It's not fine, because like if you're still living a super unhealthy lifestyle, getting this is like not going to do anything really of benefit to you. I want to know if you think the world is getting better or worse. And you can say socially, physically, like the...
Man, it's kind of hard to say. Like, I don't think there's a clear answer to that. I think in a lot of respects it's getting better, like technology, health, communication. I think all that is good. The question is whether it's being used. Like, it gives us better things in some sense, but I think it's also creating like a more toxic world, which I think is bad.
Okay.
If I went back in time and told myself 3 years ago like what was going on today, I think I would say that sounds worse.
Oh, okay, right.
People are so divided for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand there's deeply rooted issues like with America and I mean just people in general, but I'm of the sense of like if you feel the way you feel and as long as it doesn't affect me,
right, that's
we're
what
good.
like,
I think there's a lot of scary things going on, and like I was a big proponent of this for a long time, legalizing like every drug, regulate it, tax it, legalize it. But now looking at like places like California and I guess it's New York, they started kind of allowing some of these things, and then like in Brooklyn, I think they have like a safe like space for you to use drugs.
Okay, yeah.
And I think all that does is just promote more use. I don't think that leads to any real benefit to that person when it comes to drugs that have the potential to kill you and be very addictive. I don't know if you're doing anyone like a real favor
by allowing them to do it.
Yeah, and I think it's seen as being like
humanitarian.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't see it that way. But once again, I'm of the belief: do you as long as it doesn't affect others. So it's like a catch-22 there.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking of this, do you remember when we were in Vancouver?
Yep, of course.
Yes.
And the guy on the sidewalk,
pulled up his pant leg and shot up in his leg.
Yeah.
While we're walking down the street.
That shit was something else. I'll never forget that.
I won't either. And he was wearing like suit and like
his tie was undone. He was looking a little rougher.
Yeah.
He might have been on a bender.
Right. That's a real fucking wild weekend. I guess I was a little left.
Gosh.
I mean, I guess that's the thing that comes to mind when I think about this stuff is like, how crazy would that be if I'm just like heading to work and I see people doing that? Like that's a regular occurrence.
I think as humans evolve, like we're gonna move past stuff like that. Like I truly believe that's gonna eventually fade away. Because that's such a low, like, okay, the high you get is like, of course it's very high and it's like whatever, but you're becoming so dependent on this physical substance and like...
This is where it becomes an issue though, is like, at what point do these people using drugs start to hinder
society and
and yourself, and like then yourself and themselves?
Do you think that by legalizing it, it's going to make more and more people do it?
I don't know. I mean, my original thought was just like, granted, I was a little naive. I didn't think very deep into it either. But I've had to stand behind it because I've said it.
Dude, that's so... You throw that shit out there and it's in the world. You told people
pull it back.
Yeah, bro, you gotta...
Shit, dude, it's weird for me to say, like, drugs are basically already legalized. Like, you want to get heroin, like, bad enough, fake an injury, and go to the doctor.
Oh, right.
Like, I mean, that's why you have this opioid epidemic. The whole idea was just let people do them, like, get the government out of my way.
Right.
And...
You're talking about, like, with drugs?
Maybe heroin becomes safer. Because now it's legalized. Yeah. I just saw a stat the other day, like, from 18 to, like, 35... The number one cause of death is like fentanyl overdoses. Dang. Something like that.
Dude, fentanyl's no joke. That's a pharmaceutical, right?
I think so. I think that's what started out.
So.
Yeah.
When I was living up in
West Virginia?
Yeah, bro. I was hanging out around crack addicts.
So it was like them smoking pot?
Yeah.
How were they?
If you didn't know the mannerisms of it, you wouldn't think that they were smoking crack. You'd be like, this person's just kind of like, they're kind of antsy a little bit and...
A little wiry?
Sometimes, yeah, but...
Isn't that a big thing in West Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, dude...
Drugs in general?
West Virginia is just like, it's not up to speed.
With the rest of the country?
No, it's not.
They have electricity?
Yeah, they got electricity. I mean, electricity. There's not like a lot of... You don't have like big corporations and you're going out to like... You're going to skydive, you're playing top golf, but you're going out and you're swimming in the creek, doing all this other shit.
It's like redneck.
It's rare, it's backwoods.
Fox News said that from between 18 and 45, fentanyl is the number one leading cause of death. That article was dated December 2021. Yeah, and there was another one by like The Sun and someone else. So,
dang.
One thing that I found when got into like corporate America per se, there's a lot of people that still like smoke pot, and who knows what other drugs. There could certainly be people that are using other drugs.
Functioning, yeah. I will say though, if you're doing that, that's your main priority. You can have a family, you can have a full-time job, but your main priority is that.
And that's kind of the problem with it as well.
Right, absolutely.
And I think that's where it becomes like, if you legalize it, if that's their sole intent is like, I gotta find some crack, Like I think of the Dave Chappelle skit. It's like,
yeah.
Everybody got some crack.
Is this a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
Any person that's doing that shit can't be looking out for anyone else besides himself. And that's when I saw that Brooklyn was doing this, and there's states that give out free clean needles. And like when you're promoting it, like you're promoting people just to continue like seek out that drug. And if it creates that mindset where you're like soul intense, like I gotta get some heroin, no matter what.
Well, think about if you can go to the corner store and buy it instead of like, I don't know how I stand on the whole drug thing. Like, I don't know what it would do.
It's not really a policy issue. It's a moral issue. And like, speaking of that, I think that's where you're gonna see a lot of change in the coming years. Is like these old, crusty ass people in Congress and the Senate and they're in politics are gonna start leaving.
Yeah.
You're gonna have younger people come in, and I just hope that there's people that like aren't so dead set on like creating a world where everything, like not everything has to be equal.
Examples.
I don't believe in universal income.
Oh, okay.
I think that just promotes more reliance on other people, government, and I think we need less of that.
Yeah.
No matter what your goal was, I think you can still get there even if the route isn't exactly how you planned. But if you were determined to do it, you can do it. And so I don't think you need a whole lot of reliance on other people. If we can have people that come in, like at our age, that come in with the idea of like, you work hard, manifest things for yourself, I think overall we could have a better world. I don't know, have you been following any of this Ukraine stuff?
No, I saw some video pop up that said, what would happen if Russia invaded Ukraine? What would really happen? I haven't followed. I don't know at all.
I'm not super versed in it, but I know that like Russia's gonna supposedly invade Ukraine. From what I've been told, Ukraine wants to like join NATO, and I guess Ukraine doesn't really want.
Or Russia doesn't want.
Russia doesn't want to. But what I was saying, Mike Pompeo. Yeah, he was saying that, and one thing no one knows is that Ukraine produces like 40% of the globe's red wheat supply.
Oh wow.
If Russia took that over, they basically could have a bottleneck on the wheat supply around the world.
That's huge, bro.
It's huge. I wasn't fucking thinking that. Like, I just thought it was this whole NATO thing. But he also said he believes the number one threat, like one of the biggest threats in the United States, is teachers' unions. He goes, if the teachers' unions get together and they decide that they're going to teach this or they're leaving, they're going to be able to teach that. And where are they going to be teaching this generation that's going to then become politicians and presidents and CEOs? They have the ability to change the way people think.
Dude, I see that more as like
what the
teachers unions. I feel like the change that they would make would not be any worse than it is now. Like, what do you learn in public school that really?
I think his whole point was getting to that critical race theory. I think that's his whole thing was like the whole. Which I don't really know a whole lot about it.
I'm pretty sure it's more about, it's like an overarching like systematic like racism that's like ingrained in.
I heard some stat like the SBA loans during COVID when they were giving small businesses loans to stay afloat and pay their employees.
Right.
I think it was like 40 or 50% of black small businesses got denied as compared to other races, but like most of them got approved. I thought that was interesting because, like, I know I've heard black small-owned businesses having a really hard time getting loans just based off, like, the negative perception. I don't know enough about the systemic racism to sit there and say it's a problem or to say it's not a problem. Because in my point of view, being naive, I don't see it as a problem because I don't see it.
You're right, exactly. So is that where we're at fault for not looking for it, essentially?
I don't know. But yeah, I think that's, like, a big talking point. His comment about the teachers union was quite interesting.
It is, I mean,
and you're right, it could be good and bad depending on who's on there.
Do you have to come to a complete agreement? Is it like a jury thing, or could different districts do different programs?
Joe Rogan just had a guy on who essentially helps people get off cases in which they were wrongly convicted. They talked about one person that was incarcerated. Because of them talking about it, got so much light shed onto it that the guy actually got released out of prison. At the end of the day, this country was founded in 1776. Times have changed so much since then. It's time you gotta update some things. Like I don't want to go do jury duty. Now it's like that's an inconvenience to me. I went down there and go help them clean up. It's called the Clean the Block Initiative.
Shut up.
But I went down there and we're in the Fair Park area of Dallas. And there's a lot of drug dealers there and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, gentrification is about to come through here. So you have these people that have lived there, predominantly African American, are gonna get pushed out because they're gonna jack up taxes in there, and it's gonna push people out. But I'm like, if someone came in here, helped them understand like what's happening, they could keep their community alive. It is their community. Like, you know, there might be drug dealers and have high crime activity, but you gotta think like that crime activity it's a necessity. In some cases, it's not. Like selling drugs is not a necessity sometimes, but
I mean,
a lot of the time,
after enough time comes the way of life. And
exactly. I was sitting there talking to him about it, and I was like, someone needs to tell these drug dealers that the best way to launder their money is through real estate, buy properties, and keep doing it, and you can make a killing off of when this place gets gentrified.
Oh.
And you can make your community better.
Right.
I mean, I think it'd be illegal for someone to go teach them a course on how to launder money, but
yeah.
I mean, at the same time,
You're teaching them how to invest in real estate, though.
Yeah.
Teaching
With
them
cash.
Yeah. Right.
Cash only. Yeah, NASA leasing bill morphs into freedom to vote legislation. Okay, a recent bill meant to facilitate NASA raising money by leasing out underused facilities went in a most unexpected direction, expanding the right to vote.
Dude, politics is so like, I just think of this like talking head, like these, or like the puppets, you know, like most of these guys, I mean, they're really pulled and swayed by lobbyists to push through certain programs. Like you get your whole campaign funded by this guy and that guy, and then you win the presidency, and now this guy and that guy are like, hey, you remember what I did for you.
I'm a big proponent of like getting rid of corporate lobbying.
You could do like a democracy style lobbying.
You can right now. We can donate money to them.
Okay.
But the issue is like if we donate $50, who the fuck cares? Like,
I mean, well, if you got 100 million people donating $1, that's 100 mil, bro.
That's true, but you gotta get that many people, and
yeah.
I think you just get rid of corporate lobbying. You make it like an individual. Only individuals can donate.
But then could the individual like say that they're high up in a corporate?
Well, then you gotta cap it.
Oh.
Then you gotta
you can only donate this much.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had all these expectations and I was excited, and I got the job that I've been hoping for since fucking high school and planning for and all this stuff, and I got it, and everything that I thought was gonna come with it came with it, and now I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Let's figure something out to get out of that job.
Yeah, right.
Like, because I mean, our initial conversation when we got here was like, working for someone else and making someone else money sucks. I want to just make myself money.
Because as long as you have someone dictating...
Yeah, you're capped. Like, no matter what
yeah.
you do, dude. Like, I worked on this deal, and we sold some assets for like $130 million. I did a buck ton of... I did this for like 3 months, 4 months. Like, we made the company I work for really rich, but I'm just a little bitch that gets to do all the work. Don't get me wrong, they pay me well, but
right.
it's not nearly as much as
what that deal just brought him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, imagine working on this deal and the amount of time you spend. If you could just like spend 40 hours working on a craft instead of doing that.
Right.
Imagine you could probably replace your salary in a year.
Yeah.
Worth the time work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or quicker than that, probably.
Depending, yeah.
I mean, depending on what you go down, but like, but that's the issue. It's like, it's stable, it's easy, show up, do your work, collect a paycheck.
Yeah, some people won't even care, like.
I think there's a lot of people that just don't care.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, I'm okay with just pay me. And
the only reason those people are getting 130 mil is because they've like brought themselves to the position to where they're...
I actually thought about this the other day. You certainly have to be smart and like you have to have some skills, but at the end of the day, what separates rich from middle class is like we're all basically the same, intellect-wise.
Right.
It's money. It's who can get money to go start a business or who already has money. Like our CEO is the founder of the company. Starting out, he had money to be able to go do this.
Right.
That's the way, I mean, all kinds of work. There's better examples of just self-made millionaires that started with nothing and grew. But, I mean, in this case, oil and gas is certainly a wealthy man's game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Bush's family, George Bush, they're oil and gas people too.
Okay, right.
It makes you wonder why we went to war.
Right, yeah, I know, for the fucking most oil-rich territory, yeah.
Exactly, it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe they knew something.
Of course, bro. Why did you go to war? Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All speculation.
James Clear, the Atomic Habits book.
Oh, okay.
He literally talks about how like the anticipation for something is almost greater and or equal to the actual thing.
Right.
Well, it's that post-nut syndrome too.
Yeah.
Which like
is real.
Oh, dude, so real. So real.
So real.
Yeah,
it's the realest.
It really is.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that.
Fuck, I can't believe I just spent 4 hours doing that.
Maybe as a society we should just like come to that consensus. Like people are kind of fucked up.
So are you fucked up? Are you saying
Yeah, I'm kind of fucked up, yeah.
too? Yeah, I'm fucked up as well.
Yeah.
But I want to work on myself and
No.
unfuck myself.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think in any sense of any person, no matter how much you change, someone's always gonna look at you as fucked.
Okay. Oh right, someone else.
Someone.
Be like, that person's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think if you realize that not like everyone's just kind of a little fucked up.
Yeah. Hey, it's kind of nicer. We're all just fucked up.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. That's just like the way it is. Right?
And I'm kind of here for it, to be honest, because like I love having conversations with some weird motherfuckers. They're always interesting. The only thing that's weird to me, there's a lot of old guys in the industry, and man, some of them just speaks out of their ass, and like the way they talk about women sometimes is just like, what the fuck?
Dang.
Those are the weird conversations I don't like.
Yeah.
Like when they start like just going on the rails about like,
Okay.
here's a good example.
Yeah.
Strap in for a second. Okay. So we're at a golf tournament. I'm talking to this guy. This girl walks by. I don't know if she worked there or whatever. And he literally is like, Matt, look at the camel toe on that girl. What the fuck? Dude, did you really just say that?
Right.
Like we're looking at each other. As we're having a conversation, you spot that? And that's what comes to mind. Like, guys just old, I feel like old dudes, there's still young dudes that say shit like that. But like, the older generation, I feel like just so like no filter. That is one thing that's like so like deeply ingrained into like humans, and it's like such a hard thing to correct.
Yeah.
Those subconscious things, like the judging, like when you're just in your head judging people, correcting that in the moment is almost impossible. Like,
you're gonna judge.
Yeah.
Catch it
afterwards. Make a comment to yourself like, hey, that was kind of fucked up. But like stopping it from happening is,
oh, that guy's an idiot.
Man, some of that stuff, like trying to be introspective to a certain extent, I really do think is like impossible. Being that introspective, where you like.
But that also doesn't mean to like not try. Like,
you know, I've done some things where like I try to figure out like why I did it, and you can't. You're just like, why did I do that? Meditate on it, whatever, and like you just can't even come up with the answers why you did it. What the fuck do you do?
If it's really causing you like, oh, I need to find it, then that's like a cue for me where I'm like, okay, honestly, I don't need to find the answer. Just like let it go and just accept it for what it is. And
dude, a lot of our like subconscious behaviors are deeply rooted in like childhood. If you really want to get introspective, you gotta go back and look at your childhood. And that's I've never tripped. I've never done any acid or shrooms.
Okay.
But I really want to do it in like a guided form to be able to like go and like go on a retreat and be there for a week, trip a few times, and hopefully I can come back and like understand like why I did the things I did based off of X that happened in the past. Because I do think there are, you can draw a correlation to it. And maybe try to pinpoint some things. And, dude, that's another thing with like we talked about depression earlier. And like mental health, and I think like, I mean psilocybin and like there's been studies with like treatment, where it's guided and it's like counseling with it, dude. Is you're at a good place. You can be. I mean, you're at a very. It's not that you're at a good place. You're at a state of mind that is very receptive and like you're wide open, bro. You're wide open. So if someone is to guide you, because you're out of your mind a little bit. And if someone is like, a therapist that you've had like a couple sessions with, let's talk about this one moment in your childhood. You know, like when this happened. Because, dude, we talked about Tim Ferriss a little bit. He has a really good podcast. Tim Ferriss, Psychedelics. He recorded this podcast like while he was at like a conference. He's like at a panel, and he's like the moderator of it. He's like asking like this panel of people that are like knowledgeable about psychedelics, how they work with like PTSD and depression, like there's different things. There was this one lady that started microdosing just to like see how it went. Like, it like totally changed, I guess, her and like the way like her as a being. And then she talked about how like her and her husband once a year take like ecstasy that like literally rekindles their relationship for that rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like totally just rekindles that. And I'm like, I'll do that shit before I get on any prescribed medicine.
Yeah.
Like, but I've always like, the reason I haven't done it like recreationally is because I'm afraid of having a bad trip. The environment I know plays a huge factor on how that is gonna go.
Set and setting, people and where you're at.
Yeah, and so if I can find a place to do it, I would think in the next couple of years I'd like to go and do that. I remember in college we had like 15 fucking people at my house like doing DMT.
Oh god.
I didn't do it, but
Were you watching them?
yeah.
What was it like as an outsider watching them? Were they just like they just passed?
Like slumped. Yeah, like slumped. Like
slumped.
chill. Yeah, they were super chill. They were not like walking around. They were just like chilling.
Yeah.
One person told me like they were just like staring at our ceiling, like the ceiling like mud when it dries, like it's like crusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it broke up into that, and like pieces started falling.
Gosh.
I'm like, he said the visuals were crazy.
Dude, have you heard about people breaking through? Where they're like, they take off, they leave. Bro, that's like the thing with DMT is like you break through. Our homie, I think he took like 2 hits, and he said on the second one, he's literally like hitting it like out of a bomb. He's starting to go away, and then he's like out, like he's gone. And because he's done it like multiple times, many times, and he like lands in this place. And there's this box. It's like an old, it's like one of those things that vinyl record, and it has the old like megaphone almost.
Yeah.
Is what I pictured. But and it's like a box that you open up, and it has this white light coming out of it. And it might have even had like a spectrum of colors to it, because it was like, he said like, but the white was all colors. And he gets to this place, and there's this guy there, and he's like, or it's not this guy, it's like this being. The being is very confused, and it's like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. How did you get here? Shit like that. And I've heard that story of beings saying that or whatever. Like, you're literally going to other dimensions beyond this frequency of existence. They're on other planes that exist around us, but we can't see or hear.
Incredible geometry and like just all these different colors and moving lines and shapes and just this intense visual experience. And